Next, we'll look at something very valuable in all programming languages and valuable in JavaScript, callback functions. So callback functions exist in almost all programming languages that I'm familiar with. And what their purpose is to provide typically a little piece of information that the called function needs from the caller. Think of the sort routines. So the sort routine is an expert in arranging a data collection in sorted order. What it doesn't know is the business rules of the objects that it's sorting. It needs a callback function to provide the business rule that says, what is the order of these two objects? One comes before and one comes after. What is that order? There's no way the sort routine can provide that, and typically it's just one small piece of information that it needs. So as we'll see in a moment, the arrow function provides a very convenient way to express small return statements, and it turns out that a lot of callback functions are of that nature. Let's take a look. So starting at line 7, I have prompt for input, and it's a function declaration. It has two parameters, a message and valid. So valid is going to be a callback function. So if valid is not defined, then I set valid equal to a arrow function that says true no matter what the input is. That's the default case. Anything's valid. Then on line 11, I declare what the input variable. And then I have a do while loop that prompts the input and uses the callback function while not valid based on the current input. Keep prompting for input. The first function I'm going to use as a callback function is must be TED, and it's normal function declaration. And it says it's valid input if the data input is equal to the string TED. This is an example on line 23 of the prompt for input with no validation function being passed here, no callback. So recall that will have the default value of the callback function here, which is to say any input is valid. So then I actually used the function declaration that I had above, must be TED, just by its name. So other languages require a more elaborate infrastructure to achieve callback functions, but since in JavaScript, remember that the nature of the function is that of a variable, and therefore passing it as a parameter is as normal as passing any other data as a parameter. On line 29 is an example of using a function expression, but instead of defining it ahead of time, which I could have done also, I define one right in place. So they're a little bit less overhead automatically, still the function and the function body here, and the return statement here, as this is essentially a normal function, a function expression, passed as a parameter. And here finally, also a function expression, but the arrow function. And you can see how the arrow function is very convenient syntax for this type of filtering mechanism via a callback function. So array sorts could use this. Anything that needs a callback to a little piece of information, arrow functions perfect for. In this case, it insists on may as the result. So let's hit refresh on this page and look at it. This is the one that accepts anything because it has no callback function defined. Here's the one that demands TED exactly that way. So it wants that. Here's one that wants any input of length 5. And then this one wants may. Case exactly like that. All right. Callback functions, very valuable, and three varieties of them, the three varieties of ways we've learned to express functions in JavaScript: function declaration, and the name of it, and then an inline function expression, and then the shortcut way of doing a function expression, the arrow function. All callback functions used by this to validate the input. Thank you.